A beast tamer is a powerful being that commands creatures, monsters, and sometimes even mythical beasts that are said to only exist in dreams. It's a rare profession not everyone can have. In the remote land of Grayla, children who turn 12 are tested by a priest to reveal their true vocation. To Rock's surprise, he was deemed a beast tamer. The friends who were assessed with him congratulated their friend, knowing just how rare his class is. That said, it's such an obscure one that the priest barely even knew about it. They all encouraged him with faith, saying he'll totally make it work. With his sheepish thank you, Jack pushed his fist towards him and promised to be the world's greatest gladiator. Emmy did the same, setting her sights on becoming the best mage there is. While she isn't as enthusiastic as the others, Kara aims to be a saint who can heal any wound. Lastly, Rock joined their hands, and the four agreed to become an S-rank party together. The friends laughed at their little dream, and the job itself never really mattered to the beast tamer. He just wanted to keep walking beside everyone and having fun, so he decided to support and help make their goals come true. 3 years later, the royal capital was met with a wet night. A lone figure rushed through the rain. It was Rock, now 15 years old. He was just glad to get home and was about to enter their room, when he hears a voice inside, suggesting that he be kicked out. Jack was complaining about him being a beast tamer, when he doesn't even have a single beast. All he does now is carry bags and run errands, something anyone can do. Emmy defended him, saying they've always fought side by side, but he argues that they're now an S-rank party everyone looks up to. They can't afford to keep dead weight who's useless in battle. With her hesitation, he adds that even the hero took interest in them, and it's finally their big chance. If such a person joins their party, the king will take notice and it's bound to help their village. This is all true, but also painful, especially for their childhood friend who was listening outside. Tomorrow, they'll dive straight into the Inferno dungeon with the hero. After clearing it for sure, they'll be saying goodbye to the beast tamer. Emmy was about to protest again, but Jack suddenly placed his attention on Kara, who was bringing a dress to the dungeon. She's afraid of leaving it in the inn and getting stolen, so he just sighs in resignation. The meeting is then adjourned, and anyone who wants to talk to Rock is allowed to do so separately. Emmy rushed out the door and followed him, unwilling to end the conversation just like that. They failed to see their old friend by the corner. It's true that the tamer hasn't met a single holy beast yet. He vowed to live a life blessing and support his team however he could, and he did do all this, when many others with his class spend their lives searching for beasts. He cooked, hauled gear, shielded the team, and scouted during expeditions. He handled every dirty job, right down to negotiating with the guild. Unfortunately, they never understood him, nor did they appreciate his efforts. The next day came, and a young man appeared before the S-rank party with a smile. He introduced himself as Kid, a hero in training, and says it's a pleasure to meet them. Rock tries to make light small talk with Jack, but he just side-eyes him and turns away with annoyance. The newcomer then showers the women with praises, immediately laying it on thick with the flattery. While the tamer was still observing his actions, he came up to him with his cheerful attitude. However, his attitude flips completely, calling the boy a servant and ordering him to watch his gear. His true nature becomes clear, just like that. Emmy then corrects the misunderstanding of him being a servant, so Kid apologizes, saying he thought so as Rock was carrying all the stuff on his back. Kara cut in, wanting to move along and not caring about how her friend was treated. Before all of that, Jack asks to check on the hero's gear. He unsheathes his blade without a word, and proudly shows them the Dragon Slayer's Bane, a royal gift said to kill actual dragons. They were in awe, and the craftsmanship indeed proved that it was a masterpiece. That said, Rock notices something, and asks if there was a faint crack near the base. Kid places the blade by his neck, offended and again calling him a servant. At this point, the tamer isn't even fazed and just sighs in acceptance. Jack tells him to ignore the boy and give the mission everything they have. After all, they were in good hands with the hero there. Just like before, they agreed to do their best and clear the dungeon, even raising their hands together. Rock wasn't included, and watched the scene that was uncannily similar to when they made their childhood promise. There was nothing he could do. Through good times and bad, it was everyone's support that kept him going, but supporting their dreams was his own dream. Still, it seems that he can't even cheer them on anymore. The party entered the Inferno dungeon. Rock was leading the way as usual, but Jack incessantly ordered him to hurry up. The tamer was busy using monster detection. It shows the location of monsters in the dungeon, allowing them to advance with minimal fights. After all, the shortest route isn't always the safest. However, the gladiator didn't understand and kept shouting at him to move faster. He tries to explain why he was doing it, but Jack had no intention of listening to his excuses, since he was too busy kissing up to the hero and trying to reach the boss fast. Kid shrugs and notes that there are less monsters than last time, and suggests that it might be why even a servant can take the lead. Rock seems to hear something coming, but can't butt in as Jack asks if the hero has been here before. Apparently, he once came there with a top-rank adventurer and nearly got killed. Since then, he swore to never party with trashy and useless people again. Just then, a bunch of bug monsters appeared and crawled towards them. Rock slays them almost instantly, not even hesitating and moving back to navigating the next area. Unreasonably annoyed, Jack smacks the map out of his hands and tells him to move it. He argues that he isn't asking for much, and furiously tells him to speed it up. While he scolded the boy, Kid took the map and looked at it himself. He calls to the others and reveals that the tamer isn't even following the shortest route. They're all shocked to hear this, and now even Emmy starts to doubt him. Rock tries to explain that he isn't misleading them in any way, but Jack was already accusing him of getting revenge and messing with them on purpose. It was unthinkable and a serious claim. To his surprise, Emmy approached silently and smacked him hard across the face. He was stunned, and she felt betrayed. The mage asks why he can't understand that they weren't playing a game. In tears, she says even she can't defend him if he keeps acting this way. At that moment, Rock realized that she felt the same as the others. He explained it repeatedly back in the day, and everyone agreed to take the longer but safer route. Their little trust in him was enraging. Understanding, he leads them through the fastest way, warning that there will be more monsters. He's told to hunt them properly then, so he just dismissively agrees. While Jack is also told to focus, Rock wonders when it started falling apart like this. His team members consider him a burden that drags them down, and he can't believe that this is the same people he grew up and dreamed with. Kid suggests kicking him out already. As the tamer silently defeated the monsters, they eventually reached the boss room. However, they were all exhausted from fighting the entire way there. The great big doors blocked the path to their target. Given their condition, Rock suggests taking a break and unloading first, but Jack was still in a rush, and arguing that he already delayed them so much. Emmy still looked at him with shame, saying it's more dangerous to stay. With the hero doubling down and calling him an idiot who can't read the room, the tamer drops the formalities and accepts it. His casual attitude infuriates the gladiator, who calls to the other members and says he's had enough. The mage was silent while the saint nodded in agreement. Saying he's been useless for such a long time now, Jack finally reveals that the tamer will be fired after they finish the dungeon. Instead, they'll be moving to the next level with Kid, just the four of them. Rock already expected this, of course, and readily accepts the decision they already made the night before. With the others quiet and the removal finalized, Jack happily got back to the main mission. Again, the four put their hands together, reminding the tamer just how out of place he was now. He was told to stay behind Kara and support until the end. It was time to fulfill his role with magic and blessings. They opened the doors and walked in to face the boss. A huge creature slept in the middle of the room. The creature's luscious fur shined and glistened as its body calmly moved along with its breathing. Their eyes were wide open in shock, not expecting a gray wolf. Rock knew better, certain that a gray wolf is too weak to be the boss of the dungeon. Seeing that it was more silver than gray, he realized that it's the silver wolf, Fenrir, which is a legendary beast that even an S-rank adventurer would struggle against. The only saving grace is that it usually ignores people unless they attack first. The two other men weren't as smart as he is. Believing it's a normal gray wolf, they leapt high up with their weapons to finish the mission and head home. Rock urgently tells everyone to stay back as the monster is far too dangerous. It was too late. The two foolish boys had already swung their blades down, leaving their party members frozen in shock and disbelief. Despite the open and direct attack, the wolf was unharmed. Instead, a familiar blade clattered onto the ground. Kid's Dragon Slayer sword had broken apart. While Jack questioned why his attacks weren't working, Fenrir circled its aggressors. Understanding that they've come as enemies, it howled loud and shook the room. The two women dropped and shook in fear just from its gaze, with Kara in a much worse condition than the others. Kid tells them to fall back, as even he can't fight with a broken sword. Jack argues that they haven't even scratched it yet, but that's just the problem. It didn't even take damage after a free hit, so they have to retreat for now. Reluctantly accepting the order, they all run from the boss, just as it began its attack. The chase was on and Rock led the escape with Kara in his arms, but even his being at the front earned the gladiator's insults. He just happened to be at the back already, but stays silent. However, Kid was plotting something in his mind already. Saying he exists for moments like these, he circles ahead of the tamer. The hero suddenly stabbed his chest with his broken blade. The betrayal was so instant and unavoidable. Dropping the saint, he fell to the ground and shook in pain. Not caring a single bit, Kid takes a spare sword from the luggage and leaves everything else, saying it's a farewell gift for the afterlife. Then calling to Jack, he says that he's really a member of their party now. Rock froze in shock as his childhood friend affirmed it with a smile, as if already expecting the betrayal to happen. He watched the two men run, wondering why they would go so far, While the wolf snarled and continued its chase, he sees Emmy rushing past him, not even looking back as she apologized for leaving him behind. Although Kara was also abandoned, she was still well enough to stand up. Worrying just about the expensive dress and the luggage, she runs away too. Rock's vision was fading, and the last thing he was about to see was proof of how much his friends hated him. They figured that he was better off left to die. Years ago, they agreed to give it their all and become stronger together. They supposedly trusted him and asked for his support, even saying that the party only holds together because of him. Their betrayal dealt more pain than the hero's sword stabbing his chest. As he questioned what in the world happened, Fenrir approached and loomed over him from behind. While it opened its mouth, Rock chuckled as he still wanted to save his friends and can't bring himself to hate them. Fenrir growled as he watched the rotten humans who would sacrifice their own just to save their own lives. Taking their heartlessness into consideration, he opens his maw over the boy and says he'll at least send him off without pain. Just then, Rock turned to face the wolf as he heard it speak. He stops it for now, asking how it was speaking the human language. Even the beast backed up in surprise and confirmed that the boy can actually understand his words. They were in disbelief, but it must be because of his beast tamer skill. Now that they know what's happening, Fenrir moves around and wonders if the human still intends to fight. Rock insists that he has no such desire, but the wolf insists on playing a little, as he's been stuck on the floor, bored out of his mind. That said, playing along would likely get him killed. As he has no other choice but to be smart about it, he rummages through the luggage left behind and takes out Jack's spare chest plate. With a firm grip, he throws it over the wolf and into the distance. Fenrir instinctively moves to catch the armor with his mouth and plops it to the boy while questioning his intentions. Grabbing the saliva-covered plate off the floor, he silently tosses it again, but farther and in the other direction. The wolf even hops from side to side as it rushes to catch it. The moment he does, he feels an incredible sensation. His tail was wagging like a propeller, as he fully but unknowingly enjoyed the game of fetch. It was great, and it's been ages since either of them had this much fun. Rock mentions how he talked about being stuck in the floor. Apparently, there's a barrier seal that's too strong, even for the legendary beast. As they talk about the situation, the wolf can't help but plop down in disappointment. Speaking hypothetically, the tamer asks if the beast would come with him, if he got him out of there. Fenrir looked at him silently for a few moments, and said it's quite an amusing joke. The boy just about accepted the rejection, when the wolf suddenly agreed to do so. It was a promise from a species that doesn't lie. Just then, something sparkled in Rock's mind. Saying the legendary beast looks like he wants to join the party, it asks for the tamer's permission. This is the first time he's encountered the voice in his head. He knows all about it, as there are several accounts of other tamers hearing it, although one person in the records went insane after. Still, he knew what it meant and accepted the canine as his companion. Their bodies shined with a bright light. With Fenrir joining his party, the sanctuary of the holy beast and divine beast form are unlocked. As there's barely anything documented about beast tamers, Rock had no idea about the power and will just have to test things out to find out. The silver wolf was giddy as power and information flowed through his body. As they've already accepted each other, the human finally introduces himself to the new companion who seems quite interested in his name. Again, the wolf's tail began to wag uncontrollably as he asked for a new name as well. Asked for a brand new name, Fenrir adds on and says he'd like a cool one that suits him. Rock is stumped and spends a good few moments racking his brain. The wolf blushes with excitement as he starts to speak and suggests, Lucky, a fairly simple moniker. His face scrunched and his teeth bared upon hearing this, not because of anger, but because of how cool he found it. He accepted the new name and delightfully hopped around the cave. Just then, a treasure chest appeared out of thin air, confirming that taming the divine beast still counts as defeating the dungeon boss. Eager to see what's inside, he opens it up and finds a couple of interesting items inside. First, there was a bracelet, then there was a huge collar that made even Lucky smile. Excited over how fancy and cool it looked, he tells his partner to put it on him quickly. He returns to jumping around as soon as it's on his neck, while Rock moves on to check on the bracelet. The voice says he's equipped the bracelet of the miniature garden and can now enter and exit freely. He doesn't even know what it means at first, but his eyes grow wide in awe when he sees the inside of the glass dome. Just as its name suggested, there was a small environment inside. Intrigued and wanting to see it for himself, Lucky came close, a bit too close. The moment his nose touched the glass, his entire body was sucked into the bracelet. Rock panics from the unexpected result and asks if the wolf is okay. A voice from the bracelet says he's okay. In fact, he jumps out and reappears on his own, even inviting the boy to come over and join him in the fun garden. It sounds ridiculous at first, but there's only one way to verify if he was telling the truth. Merely thinking about entering the space, he opens his eyes and finds himself inside the bracelet. It was amazing, as if he was in a world of his own, The serenity and silence of it all would probably be great for rest. Truthfully said, it wasn't that big, but the temperature and climate are perfect and would be great as a warehouse. Among magic items, there are some that let the user store things in pocket dimensions, but none of them fits and holds familiars like this bracelet. Lucky interrupts his thoughts and asks about the boy's next plans. As his life as an S-rank adventurer ended just today, he says it might be fun to go around and search for other divine beasts like him. The thought of gathering allies makes the wolf's tail wag with delight. After all, there must be loads of others dying to get out like he does. It's a great goal and all, but they still need to get off the floor first. Exiting the garden, the two traveled through the dungeon with Rock on his back. Told not to fall off, he clings to Lucky's thick fur and thanks him for the ride. It's so much faster than walking, just as expected of a Fenrir. At this rate, they'll reach the stairs and find the barrier in no time. A bit farther out, Lucky is told to turn right up ahead. He questions why, when going straight would get them to the stairs faster. Told that the way forward is crawling with monsters and that he wants to avoid useless fights, the Fenrir praises Rock for being more capable than he looks. As soon as he turns as told, they find a bunch of chopped up bug corpses on the ground. Intrigued, they immediately stop, much to the wolf's confusion. Hopping down, the boy notes the corpses. While most sell for a lot, some of them actually taste quite great. Lucky is delighted to hear this and immediately asks for a bite. Holding an enormous chunk in his hands, he says collect, and it immediately disappears with a bright shimmer of light. His familiar is amazed by his ability to collect things that way. Rock just had a feeling it might work, and wants to try doing it while he's riding. To see if they can actually do it, he hops onto his familiar's back and urges him to give it a try. However, Lucky doesn't exactly have the hang of it, as his normal force blasts the piece apart. They're left shocked by the destruction, which just leads the wolf to sheepishly apologize. Trying again, he uses his toes gently to make sure things turn out differently. The tip of his claw lightly touches the carcass as he says collect, but the result isn't that different, since it just gets cleaved instead of popped. He watches in horror while the pieces fell to the ground. At least they know that Rock can collect them without any trouble. The wolf was sad, but he'll eventually get the hang of it. For now, they have to resume and get back to the main task, which is passing the gate that's locking the divine beast in. Lucky pushes against it. As he said, it's completely impenetrable, and most certainly a powerful barrier. Already accepting it, the Fenrir says it's probably as far as they go as partners, adding that it was a fun, albeit short time together. Rock calms him down, arguing that it's a bit too early to give up. Told to get into the miniature garden, Lucky understands the idea and gets hyped up, as it might actually work. He zooms into the bracelet as told, and now it was the moment of truth. There is no guarantee that they'll be able to get out safely, more so with how powerful the barrier is. Passing through won't be easy, at least that's what he thinks, until he straight up just walks past it. Right on the other side, he releases Lucky from the bracelet, and they cheered at the unexpectedly simple solution. The two got outside just as easily, with the Fenrir making the trip as fast as it could possibly be. Seeing the outside for the first time, he thanks the human. He still can't believe that he was there, but looks forward to working together nonetheless. Sharing his sentiments, Rock put his fist out, just like he used to with his old friends. Lucky was about to answer with his paw, but remembers the carcasses exploding earlier and decides against it. Instead, he meets the fist with his snout, marking the start of something more than a partnership. For the first time, the beast tamer gained a divine beast as a companion. At the Adventurers Guild in the middle of the capital, people gathered and formed a crowd, as the Fenrir naturally took everyone's attention. Rock figured that this would happen, but the guards suddenly rushed in, saying they have to protect the guild from the Grey Wolf. Lucky yawned while his companion tried to explain that he was a tamed beast, but the men weren't listening to him at all. Seeing their weapons at the ready, he wondered what he was going to do now. Just then, someone familiar walked out of the guild, drawn there by all the commotion. Rika, the receptionist, has come to see what the problem was. Ignoring the men who parted and blushed at the sight of her, she welcomes Rock back. She's confused at first, remembering how he's supposed to be in the Inferno dungeon, but is distracted by the ridiculously eye-catching wolf in front of her. Chuckling and saying it isn't that simple, the young man introduces his familiar, the Fenrir. She doubts her ears at first, thinking she just heard a legendary beast's name. Realizing that he was serious, she sincerely congratulates him for becoming a divine beast master. The guards and townspeople hear the receptionist, but can't believe it. The thought of someone taming the Fenrir was simply ridiculous. With all that said, he now has to register the familiar properly, so he's led back into the guild, while Lucky lies down and takes a nap in front of the building. He completes the registration in no time, and he thanks her for all the help. Just then, Rika asks where the rest of his party went, surprising him as it means that they haven't even returned yet. He shares how Kid stabbed him in the chest and left him in the dungeon to die as bait. The news about him being stabbed shocks her, and she asks if he's okay. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal as the hero's sword was snapped in half before it hit him. Relieved to a degree, she says that the rumor about the young hero must be true after all. Back when he was still a rookie, he once entered a dungeon with an A-rank party. However, the only ones who came back out were Kid and another person. Apparently, he used his comrades as decoys to help him flee with his life. Recalling the events just earlier today, it definitely sounds like something he would do. Rika is still confused and doesn't know why he would target the tamer this time. He says it's because he's the most useless one in the party and just laughs it off, but the statement was completely irrational to the young receptionist. In fact, she'd confidently label him as the most capable one in the entire group. It doesn't sound believable, especially as he only does the things anyone else could do. It's probably why they kicked him out inside the dungeon. She fervently argues that that's no way for an S-rank adventurer to be thinking. Either way, the guild will be demoting his old party to B rank or even lower. Stunned, he insists that it's too harsh, since they have plenty of personal achievements anyway. While that's true, acts of treachery are completely against the law of the guild. Besides, the others haven't even returned yet, proving even more how unskilled they are. Reminded that his old friends haven't even made it out of the dungeon yet, Rock remembers that they're still with Kid, who's capable of doing heinous things to save himself. He ran out as fast as possible, but Rika then called to him, saying they'll likely just insult him again, even if he rushes to their rescue. She may be right, but even then, he can't get their happy memories out of his head, so he'll just make sure to shove their gear back into their faces. Although she wasn't expecting that response, she understands and bows to bid him farewell, but can't get the sad expression off her face when he runs off. Outside the guild, a familiar voice called to the boy. He almost forgot, but Lucky was there, calmly lying down while the kids treated his body like a park. Rock asks if he'd join him back into the dungeon, but before that, the Fenrir says that the traitors will unmistakably betray him again and again. He knows this, of course. That's why this will be the last time he'll help them. Fortunately, the look on his face was one of determination and self-respect. Lucky had nothing more to say to someone who has already made up his mind. As such, he said goodbye to the children's tail, still happily wagging, and allowed his partner to hop onto his back. The two raced back to the dungeon as fast as possible. Back on the 5th floor of the ruins, Kid was scolding the party for not knowing the path back without a map. Jack shouts right back, arguing that he isn't any better than them. As Kara remembers Rock, who was always their guide, Emmy can't help but frown in sadness. The hero insults everyone, calling them slugs who aren't worthy to be called S-rankers. Jack argues that they rushed there from the 10th floor and are naturally exhausted. He tells the hero not to act so high and mighty when he can't even handle his own weapon. They're taking the shortest route back and weren't even wandering around, so why were they running into twice as many monsters? Even so, enemies in the dungeon normally should be weaker on the lower floors, but it actually felt like they were getting stronger and stronger. Although the path before them was now clear, it took a great deal of energy. They can only hope that the monsters get weaker from the next floor upward. For now, they recuperate and get ready. Asking if the spare sword was still working, the hero is told to hang in there for now and push through all at once when they reach the enemies. Kid is in no mood to listen to him and scolds him for using such an old blade. Just then, he grew pale in shock and asked if the gladiator's sword was cursed or something. Jack shares that he picked it up in town and that it's never rusted nor chipped. Frozen in disbelief, the hero urgently demands to see the girl's staves as well. The expression on his face only gets worse as he takes a closer look at the two. It was unbelievable, and he can't accept that he actually teamed up with idiots like them. The gladiator questions what his insulting words mean, making it clear that they really have no idea about the truth. As such, Kid reveals that Rock has been flooding them with an insane amount of blessings. It's no wonder they reached S-rank level, just 3 years into their career. This is the first Jack has heard of such a thing, and he insists that they climb to the top with their own strength. The boy's spells boost resistance against impact, magic, and all sorts of things. He was constantly using a skill that channels the caster's mana directly onto his teammates. There are so many layers that he lost count, and every one of them is under its effect. In short, the Beast Tamer brought them to where they are now, when in reality, they're barely even C-rank material. The truth hits them hard like a truck, and several seconds of silence pass. Jack was in absolute disbelief, told that he only reached S-rank because of Rock. Even back then, their trainer always praised the Tamer for improving so quickly. In effect, the gladiator was compared endlessly, and told to learn a thing or two from his peer. It was always like that. Before they started adventuring, the boy's shadow already clung to him, until now when he's finally disappeared from his life, he simply refuses to accept it. His expression makes Emmy worry, but all Kid could think of was how much of a burden they are. Kara is asked for how many heals she has left. Considering it all, she has more or less 12 charges left for everyone there. As for the mage, she should be able to manage with her spells, if they keep the pace. With a proper understanding of the situation, the hero led them to the next floor. Until they reach the stairs to the 4th floor, there seems to be just 5 orange ants left. Fighting with them head-on is too dangerous, since they'll call for countless others. Before the battle, Kara is told to use the rest of her mana to heal all the members. After that, the gladiator will take the lead and be followed by the mage and saint while Kid supports from behind. They rush forward without looking back or stopping for anything. As soon as the ants see them, the hero suddenly slashed at the saint's back. She couldn't even register what happened, but he was already smiling like before. He leaves her there, saying they no longer need a saint who's run out of heals. Her only purpose now is to stay behind as dead weight and draw fire. Looking forward, she sees everyone running forward, not even looking at her. Her weak hand reached towards them, begging not to be left behind. However, it was too late, and the swarm was already behind her. Feeling their presence, she turns and sees them rush at her body. At the 4th floor, the battle continued, and Jack questions why Kid attacked Kara. He argues that sacrifices are inevitable if they want to survive. Besides, they were in a dungeon and no one was going to find out. In other words, they're all accomplices who'd need to surrender themselves if they want to speak up. The chilling reality of his plan hits them. Even back then, they abandoned Rock when they could have saved him. That makes them just as guilty as the one who thrust the blade. Still, he didn't expect them to be so weak and useless given their rank. Jack retaliates, arguing that he's just as weak as they are, and sends an ant crashing into the wall. He was already exhausted. Despite being on the 4th floor, the monsters were still too strong. Blue ants shouldn't be like this, as they were too weak to even be considered an enemy before. He remembers the words they were told earlier, about receiving so many buffs from Rock that it can't even be counted. This serves to infuriate him even more, but he doesn't have the time with enemies coming from behind. When he was about to be done in, the beast tamer appeared, with Lucky tearing the monsters apart. They're all baffled by the unexpected appearance of the boy they left to die. They stared at him, looking completely well as he rode the divine beast. He says he crawled back from hell, putting the 2 men on guard. Just then, the Fenrir suggests taking them out, as no one will know anyway. Kid was just about ready for a fight when Emmy called out and begged her old friend to save Kara, who was still stuck on the 5th floor. He immediately gets an idea of what the hero did. As always, he smiles and says that there was no other way to survive. Rock curses them all, unable to believe that trash like them were heroes and childhood friends. With a smug smile, Lucky emphasizes how they don't have any remorse. He has no choice but to accept it, but still wants to save the saint and asks for his familiar's help. The wolf could only sigh at his unconditional kindness and tries to remember Kara, whose stinky dress was covered in perfume. Although he isn't a fan, he listens to his partner and speeds away, leaving the adventurers behind. While the 2 men glared with anger, Emmy just stared with a face full of regret. The partners reach the 5th floor in no time and immediately proceed to hack at the swarm of ants. One slash from the Fenrir decimated entire droves, but there were still countless more waiting to attack. It seemed unending, as they've all come out of the nest after smelling their prey. There were so many that some even managed to start crawling over the Fenrir's body. Still, Rock dashed in with a grin, heading forward to rescue his partner. With Lucky there, he wasn't afraid of losing it all. Rock and Lucky managed to defeat the army of ant monsters. The divine beast suggests that they make one good team. Rock agrees, saying that this is the first time that he has been compatible with anyone. Their moves complement each other, which makes their battle a breeze. After ensuring that they have defeated all the minor monsters, they go ahead and look for Kara's location. After searching for her, they find her badly injured body on the ground and unmoving. Rock feels bad for his friend, remembering some of their moments together. She used to get his opinion about the healing potions she was brewing. She was an earnest healer of the group, and back then, all she wanted was to help them recover during dungeon quests. He picks her up and makes her drink the healing potion he made. He managed to make one because of her, and now he hopes it can save her. He tightly hugs her and prays that she somehow survives. He thanks her for everything she did for him. Suddenly, she starts to cough and slowly regains her consciousness. He gives her a smack on the face to fully wake her up. Once she is fully awake, she gets confused that Rock is with her. Thinking that he died, she thinks that she is already in heaven. She immediately apologizes to him for leaving him behind when he needed them the most. She did something unforgivable to a friend. Full of kindness, he tells her that it is all okay now. However, they still have a problem even in the afterlife. He shows her Lucky and pretends that he is already dead, and they have to take down the divine beast of the underworld, Fenrir, to reach the next realm. She takes a moment to process this, and then when it sinks in, she loses her consciousness because of shock. Amused, Lucky corrects him that Cerberus is the gatekeeper of hell. Rock realizes that they need to head back to town and asks him to carry Kara for him. He looks disappointed, saying that his back is only reserved for him. But in the end, he still gave in to Rock. The boy thanks him for understanding. Suddenly, Rock notices an opening at the far end of the cave. It looks like the entrance to the next nest of the monster ants. Hearing this, Lucky suddenly perks up, saying that he wants to eat some ant eggs. He almost salivates thinking how good they are. Distracted, he follows the path and leaves Rock behind. Upon reaching the next area, he finds the eggs he is looking for. He locks his eyes on his target while Rock curiously looks at the eggs. Suddenly, he notices that a lone egg is different in color. He looks around and also realizes that most of the eggs have already been smashed. Out of nowhere, they hear a crack. The remaining eggs then start to hatch, revealing juvenile orange ants. Rock draws out his weapon, but to his shock, instead of attacking him, the ants cuddle around him and call him Papa. Lucky jokes that he has probably had a woman outside, which was why he was always coming home late. Suddenly, he hears the voice again inside his head asking if he wants the orange ants to join their party. He thinks about it carefully. Just a moment ago, he wiped out every orange ant there, and yet now, they want to join him. After contemplating, he decides to take them in, since leaving them feels like a cruel move. With this, the orange ants transform into their human form. He is shocked to see them turn into little girls. After their transformation, they are transferred to the sanctuary garden. With this, Rock tells Lucky that he will be going to the sanctuary garden for a bit to check on the new beasts. He entrusts Kara to Lucky first, who agrees to watch over the woman. Rock teleports to the sacred garden. He finds out that the garden needs to be expanded because new beasts have been added. With this expansion option, he carefully curates and chooses what to add to his space. First, he adds a river and a pond. He also adds a shed and fruit trees. He has also decided to expand the space and turn it into a field. After selecting everything, the sacred garden expands into a bountiful field. He is left wide-mouthed in shock upon seeing the improvement of the place. From the other end, he can see the orange ants gathering in one area. Curious, he asks what they are all doing. One of the ants excitedly runs up to him, informing him that they are cleaning up monster corpses. He finds this incredible, especially knowing that it is their specialty. He praises the ant and tells her how helpful she is to the sacred garden. The ant gives him a huge smile, happy that her papa praised her. Eventually, he simply accepts that he is a papa now. He then notices that she is the only one wearing a tiara and realizes that she could be the special one in her army. All of a sudden, he remembers that this should be the time he is bonding with the ants and goes back to the dungeon in no time. Upon seeing him, Lucky frantically tells him that they have an emergency. Rock panics, thinking it could be another monster attack. With a sad look on his face, Lucky tells him that all the eggs have hatched and there is nothing left for him to eat. That night, in front of the guild hall, Rock states that he will just take care of Kara and will just leave him behind for a while. The beast agrees and says that he will just wait for him. Rock enters the hall with unconscious Kara in his arms. There, he sees Kid causing a scene. He forcefully insists that he has no fault in the incident that happened inside the dungeon and that he is innocent. Jack insists the same and appeals that they lost a comrade, so they should not be treated like they are the ones in the wrong. Rika still refuses to let them in, with other adventurers blocking their way. Just then, she sees Rock approaching and informs him that the two are flat out denying everything that he has told them. Upon seeing him, Kid suddenly acts innocent. He tells the boy to please set the record straight, because the guild is suspecting that they did something horrible back in the dungeon. Rock matches his energy and says that he cannot set the record straight for something real. He can still vividly remember that they struggled on the 4th floor and slashed Kara on the 5th floor to use her as bait just to survive. He also mentions that Kid stabbed him and left him behind to escape Fenrir. Since they are about to get exposed, Jack gets frustrated and is about to throw hands. Kid puts himself in between and tells him to calm down. Kid faces Rock, accusing him of just taking revenge because he was kicked out of the party, adding that he is just lying and making accusations out of spite. Besides, he has no proof that they did all the horrible things he is accusing them of. Rock cannot believe that he can lie so boldly. It is almost like a talent. Hearing about the proof, he thinks about how he can show some proof. Sensing that he indeed has no proof, they further confidently tell him that it is a crime to insult a party without evidence. Since he is the hero in training, he can go and report the incident to the king, which can put them at a disadvantage. Rock then snatches the broken sword from him and fits it right on the wound on his cuirass. After he demonstrates, he states that this already counts as proof. Kid is shocked by this, but he says that Rock intentionally injured himself to frame them. He then looks at Jack, who stays quiet. Rock points out that Kara is also another proof that they attempted to leave members behind to survive. Seeing the body of her friend, Emmy cries her heart out and apologizes to her. They were best friends, and yet she left her behind. Rock can only look at her with sadness in his eyes. Still showing no remorse, Kid tells everyone that Kara died because she was too weak to fight, and it was not their fault. Rock chimes in, saying that Kara was slashed from behind by Kid and was left behind to die. The hero confidently stands firm that he does not have any evidence against him, stating that a corpse cannot provide any evidence. Realizing that the hero truly will not confess, he goes in front of Kara to wake her from her sleep. He tells her that the man who tried to kill her is talking nonsense, so they have to put him in his proper place. With that, she mumbles in her sleep that her dress is pretty, which shocks Emmy. To fully wake her up, he gives her another smack on the face. This finally brings her back to her consciousness, shocking everyone that she is alive. Emmy hugs her tightly, and she tries to wiggle out since she cannot breathe. Rock chimes in, saying that they have to deal with Kid first. Kara looks at the hero and gets angry at him for using her as bait. She calls him a monster and a murderer. The adventurers cannot believe that a hero like him can do something so vile and pathetic, because there is now enough evidence. Rika lists down one by one his violations against the adventurer code. Even if he is a hero, because of the sins he committed, it is decided to revoke his title. Since it is settled now, Rock bids goodbye to Rika because Lucky is still waiting for him outside. As he is about to leave, he sees Jack immediately kneeling in front of him. He admits that he was wrong and begs him to say that he was left behind because they had no choice. Jack still wants to be part of the S-rank party, and because of the incident, this is now in danger of being taken away from him. Rock sighs as he sees that Jack did not learn from what happened. He then states that he knew Kid was going to stab him but did not do anything. Jack pretends to be clueless about the accusation against him. However, Rock remembers hearing Kid ask him if he was already part of their party. Simply put, they already planned to hurt him and leave him inside the dungeon from the very beginning. Instead of apologizing, Jack even gets angry and says that Rock is ungrateful. He looked after him all these years, and yet this is how he repays him. He even got him promoted to an S-rank adventurer. Hearing this, Rika sighs. She explains that there must be a misunderstanding because Jack became an S-rank because of Rock. In reality, he is the only one in their group who has the skills to be an S-rank. The rest of them are B-rank or C-rank at best. Rock is shocked to hear this since he has always viewed himself as less than them. Rika assures him that if he teamed up with E-rank rookies, he would have achieved the same results because of his capabilities. Feeling insulted, Jack screams out his frustrations and insists that he is stronger than Rock and that the receptionist is just talking nonsense. To prove his point, he challenges Rock to do a mission. If Rock wins, he will accept the demotion, but if he wins, they will forget everything that happened. Rock is about to withdraw from the challenge, but Rika agrees to the conditions. However, Rock mentions that he does not plan on joining another party for a while. With this, Rika tells him that he can team up with an E-rank adventurer and demonstrate his coaching ability. If he does this, she can promise him a proper reward. Since this is his first mission after going solo, Rock feels nervous but nonetheless takes the challenge. With this, Jack, Emmy, and Kara will take on the quest as well. However, Kid the hero will not participate because he is under suspicion of murder. The hero smirks, saying that the suspicions were years ago and that it would be impossible for them now to prove them. But to their surprise, a man in a cloak shouts from the crowd, saying that he will testify. The man removes his cloak, and Kid immediately recognizes him. The man reveals that he was once a member of an A-rank party called the Obsidian Spear, and that they were victims of Kid. The hero immediately denies the accusations against him. The man continues his story and narrates that the incident happened in the Dungeon of Extinction. He bravely tells everyone that the hero slashed his comrades and used them as bait to escape the dungeon, just like what he did to Rock's party. He tried to save his friends, but it was already too late. Still grieving, he went back to the city and told everyone what happened, but no one believed him. They chose to side with the hero who had connections to the royal capital. Feeling guilty, he apologizes to everyone, mentioning that he was not reliable enough and that the same incident happened again. Everyone cannot believe that their hero is that cunning and vile. Rika declares that this time, he will not be able to escape his crimes because they have enough evidence. Kid grits his teeth in anger and calls them pathetic. He then takes off his mask and stops acting like a respectable hero. With nothing to lose, he grips his sword and slashes at the adventurers trying to restrain him. Rika tells him to stop adding more crimes to his name. However, Kid refuses to listen and angrily spits at her for lecturing him. He resists being caught by the guild. To escape, he grabs Emmy and makes her his hostage. Rock tries to convince him that he can still turn back if he surrenders now. Instead of calming down, this triggers the hero even more, silently cursing the guild and everyone around him for his misfortunes. He orders them to move out of his way and let him escape if they want her alive. As they carefully move aside, Kid makes his escape while still holding Emmy close. He then bolts away. Worried, Rock immediately goes after them, and to everyone's surprise, Kid and Emmy are both on the ground. Lucky has intercepted Kid's escape plan. The hero is beaten on the ground, and the divine beast is proud of his work. Rock thanks him for saving Emmy and for successfully apprehending Kid. The guards finally have Kid restrained while Rock and the others watch him get dragged to his cell. Rock looks at his divine beast and thanks him again for the help. He then shifts his attention to his former party and returns their gear and belongings to them. Emmy steps forward and humbly bows her head before him, apologizing for betraying him. He assures her that he is okay now when Jack chimes in and tells him that he can go back to their party and just forget about the duel. He believes that this would settle things, but Rock just sighs at his statement. Seeing that he has almost no remorse, he replies that he has no intention of ever teaming up with them again. Jack feels insulted and grits his teeth in anger. Kara then walks up to Rock and declares that since they were both betrayed, they will form a party together. However, he reminds her that she betrayed him too, and thus he will not form a group with someone like her. Because of this, she blames Jack for ruining their party by bringing the hero in without asking them. Jack, on the other hand, points out that she was the one who said that Rock was already useless. The two continue to argue while Rock listens to them. Emmy then tells them to stop fighting and acknowledge that they treated their friend badly by not believing in him and worse, betraying him in the end just to survive. Realizing that she is right, the two stop and remain silent, trying to reflect on what they did. Rika interjects and discusses the mission with them and the request that they need to complete. She explains that the difficulty ranges from C rank to B rank. Hearing this, Jack immediately feels confident that they can finish the quest since they are C rankers. Meanwhile, Rock is engrossed in reading the instructions and discovers that Jack and the others need to retrieve complex and rare materials like oringo eggs, green frogs, and rainbow butterflies within a week. Rock asks him if he is really alright with the mission. Jack dismisses his concern, insisting that he can do anything to prove the gap in their power. While holding the leaflet in his hand, Jack suddenly stops in his tracks and asks Rika about the quest. The receptionist only smiles at him, asking if he feels like backing out after reading the mission details. Jack feels a chill run down his spine. He realizes something grim, and that is the guild is giving them a warning. He cannot handle green frogs, Emmy is terrified of monster insects, and Kara cannot stand oringos. The guild is not lenient toward those who violate rules, and they are testing his party now. Wanting to save face, Jack accepts the mission even though he knows this will be difficult for them. After sending Jack's party off, Rika is now ready to introduce Rock to the E-rank adventurer to complete his quest. Since it may take a while, he tells Lucky to relax and wait in the garden first. While walking to where the E-ranker is staying, Rika asks Rock what he hates the most when it comes to party members. He instantly answers that he can't stand being betrayed and members who refuse to follow orders can only bring problems. He suddenly realizes that Rika is the one deciding about the missions and asks her if she will be okay after the fiasco. She gives him a reassuring smile and reveals that she is the assistant vice chief. She actually has the authority and not just the pretty face at the reception desk. With this, he remembers that she was the one who checked on him 3 years ago. He wonders how old she must be if she holds that much power in the guild but did not dare to ask the question. Nervous, he tells her that he is just thinking about the E-rank adventurer he will be with. She informs him that the person is in a bit of a unique situation, but she does not think that she will ever betray him. She informs him that she is a bit paranoid but not a bad person. She aims to introduce them at the training grounds and proceeds to the underground area of the guild. This is kind of new to him, and he is stunned when the door to the training ground opens. Rika introduces him to Shannon the elf. He finds it confusing for an elf to be an E-rank adventurer. He then sees that she is wearing a slave collar. Rika confirms this and mentions that due to certain circumstances, she is a slave adventurer under the guild's care. She further explains that all Shannon's past 5 masters have died mysterious deaths. 2 died of natural causes, 1 was poisoned, 1 fell from a cliff, and another was killed by a monster. She was eventually sent to the guild because her last master had debts to them. Rock also finds the accidents odd, and they seem like more than just bad luck for them to happen so many times. Shannon warns him about her being a reaper, so he must turn down the request while he still has the chance. However, it is too late for him to back down now since he has already accepted the job. Suddenly, she has a determined look in her eyes and raises her weapon against the man's throat. With a dangerous look on her face, she tells him that he should stay away from her since he could not even dodge a simple attack. Without showing her any emotion, he tells her that he did not really choose to dodge her attack. She grits her teeth in annoyance. She lashes out at him, asking if he really wants to die. Trembling, she remarks that she gave up on life a long time ago when she became a slave. Tears begin to fall from her face when she begs him to just give up because she is sick of watching people die. He assures her that it will work out for them. He grabs one of the wooden swords and tells her that he is the kind of person who likes to help someone kind like her. She lashes at him once again, but he does not budge. Realizing that he would not really give up, she lunges at him to show him what she is capable of. She aims to make him back down, and she strikes him with her weapon in a rapid, successive manner. While exchanging attacks with her, he realizes that she is fast and precise, and was not just bluffing when she said that she would make him back down. Judging by her movements, she must have practiced her moves a lot. However, he will not let her win. He then swings his weapon toward her with brutal force. Shannon drops her sword. After defeating her, he points out that a sword path that is too clean is easy to predict. He tells her that this is the end and she should just give up. However, she refuses to give up and leaps onto him. She then gives him a powerful kick. As she continues to attack him, he can tell that she has a strong martial arts foundation. However, like her swordsmanship, it feels like her combat moves are not that polished and feel like she lacks real combat experience. He then grabs her hand and pushes her down to the ground with brute force. She cries out in pain but still refuses to admit defeat because it will mean that he will die. He tries to convince her that he will not die on her and she just has to trust him, but she is having a hard time believing him because that is what everyone said before they died. Although trembling in pain, she declares that she will definitely lose to him. Determined to stop her from sacrificing herself, he offers to show her why he will not die. He then summons Lucky and the Great Fenrir shows itself in the training ground. He howls to show everyone how formidable he is. Lucky manages to intimidate even a flying bird nearby. Shannon finds it super impressive that Rock has the divine beast Fenrir as his familiar. Shannon remembers her past. In her memory, she is happy with her little brother Seth, who is 5 years younger than her. They were raised and born in the elven village. She thought that life would always stay the same. However, one day it all changed when Seth went missing. Her parents set out toward the forest to look for him and told her to stay at home. However, she could not stay still and went to the forest as well to look for her brother. She continued to go deeper into the forest and eventually reached the wizard's mansion. The forest, where they had always played, was called the Forest of Affection, where elves and humans once pledged friendship. In this forest stood the mansion of the wizard said to live there. However, these days, no one is allowed inside except a few chosen ones. The mansion looked untouched, so she doubted that her brother would be inside, but still, she slowly made her way into the mansion and wanted to see for herself if her brother was really not inside. She opened the door and was greeted by the grim interior of the mansion. Bothered by the silence, she shouted to ask if anyone was staying inside. Suddenly, a door on the second floor slowly opened. She walked upstairs to check if it was her brother. When she entered the room, she saw her younger brother lying on a table, unconscious. She immediately ran toward him and checked on him. Upon seeing that he was still breathing, she decided to take him home that instant to tend to him. Just then, she felt a presence looking down at her. When she looked up, she saw a dark spirit staring intensely at her. She carried her brother and ran toward the door, but was shocked to find that it was locked. As the dark spirit started to loom over them, she begged that her brother be saved instead. The dark spirit then possessed her. She felt a tight grip on her chest and lost consciousness. When she came to, she was surprised to be back at home. Seth was somehow safely back as well, and this put her at ease. But after that day, strange things began to happen. She noticed that the creatures staying around her started to die. The ones that died kept getting bigger and bigger each time, until one day, their family horse also died. She tried to tell her parents what was happening, but they did not take her seriously. She was worried that if this went on, something terrible would happen to her family as well. So, she decided to leave the village and save her family from the doom she carried. Since she had only known life inside their village, she eventually fell to the rank of a slave. Even so, she met a master who was so gentle and kind. The old man taught her the ways of the world. He helped her become someone knowledgeable from being so ignorant, so no one could take advantage of her again. However, a year and a half later, the old man passed away peacefully. Deep down, she knew she was the cause, but she did not want to believe it. Then, her second master died of illness after 3 months. The third master fell to his death from a cliff within a week. The fourth one took poison by his own hand, and the fifth one was torn apart by beasts. So before she knew it, she grew tired of being the reason everyone was dying. She was then given the nickname of the Reaper. After the incidents, she asked to be locked away so she could never harm anyone again. However, the guild had other ideas. By the time the guild took her in, she was already at her limit. Rika joined her inside her cell and offered that she join a party as an E-rank adventurer. Because of the trauma she suffered, she started to prefer to be alone. So, to avoid going on a quest with someone, she would always tell her story, so the adventurers would reject her, and sometimes she would fight her way out just to stay that way. Then one day, she met this hard-headed boy who refused to stay away from her. Even though he greeted her with a warm smile, she tried to push him away like the others. However, he would not give up on her. She heard that he had been kicked out of an S-rank party, but he was stronger than anyone, and because he was so kind to her, she tried her best to win their duel so he would stay away. Despite this, he still fought his way to her. Then she found out that he had the Fenrir beast as his companion. He was almost an impossible dream. She remembered the way people shunned her because of her curse. Because of this, she chose to bear the suffering and embrace that the cycle of death would end with her. But meeting Rock felt like a miracle. For the first time in her miserable life, she felt she could live again. Maybe there was a chance for her to break free from the curse and see the world again. With these thoughts in mind, she collapsed from exhaustion and being overwhelmed. But still, looking closely at her sleeping face, she looked relieved now. Because of this, Rika took her to rest for a while. While looking at them with a content look on his face, Rock's attention is caught by Lucky. The divine beast worries that his howl earlier flopped. Rock assures him that it worked out just fine and that it helped a great deal in breaking the fight. Hearing this, he feels a great deal of relief. He then asks what they should do with the bird who fainted and fell out of the sky when he howled. The voice asks Rock again if he wants to accept the bird into their party since it is eager to join. Since he wants more allies, Rock accepts the bird and then transfers it to the sanctuary. Lucky wonders if the bird would taste good, but Rock reminds him that he should not eat his teammates. Just then, he sees Shannon and asks if she is okay now. She then bows her head and apologizes for attacking him earlier. Rock assures her that he understands that she only did what she thought was right. She thanks him and would like to know the world better through him. He appreciates her honesty and promises to work together with her. She agrees with him, and they fist bump to this. Lucky feels happy for her too, so he tries to fist bump with her as well. She tells him it is okay and seems fond of Lucky right away. Lucky then notices that she is under a powerful curse. He confirms that it is a bad spirit curse, and it is the kind that sucks the life out of everything, and unfortunately, it is bound to take her life in the end if it could not be broken. Since it has been tormenting her all this time, he asks if there is something they can do to break the curse somehow. However, Lucky does not know anything about severing a curse and looks at Rock. The boy states that he does not know anything about curses, so he will not be helpful as well. Lucky then borrows his head for a while and puts it inside his mouth. While soaking in his saliva, he starts to panic, but suddenly, knowledge floods into his mind. After being soaked with knowledge, he finds his familiar even more impressive. With this, he encourages him to try and find a solution to their problem and dispel the curse. Just then, Guildmaster Titus arrives with Rika and stops him. Rock is incredulous when he hears that Titus will not allow them to lift the curse. Since Shannon currently belongs to the guild as a slave, she is officially counted as a guild staff member. Under their rules, they cannot have an unlicensed person perform the dispelling. Rock finds this absurd, since they have a ticking bomb and Shannon could be in grave danger. Titus calms him down, saying that he is becoming like Jack with his uncontrollable emotions. With this, the boy calms down and apologizes. Titus cheers him up and tells him to relax a little since a lot of things have been happening lately. He agrees with the guildmaster but realizes something. He asks if they can break the curse if Shannon is no longer a guild staff member. Titus smirks and comments that he is sharp as ever. Cutting to the chase, he remarks that Rock should buy Shannon from the guild if he really wants to help her. In this way, she will not be a guild staff member anymore, and he could lift the curse. Rock wants to help but thinks that it is kind of a sudden move. Titus smiles at him and asks what he thinks the guild is for. The young man answers that it was established to support the other adventurers. Sure, that is true, but Titus also adds that the guild exists to make the adventurers happy. That is why Jack and his party's betrayal cannot be tolerated. Normally, they would be removed from the guild immediately, but that would not teach them a thing, so he aims that their mission will teach them something. He wants them to find happiness, including Rock, who withstood all the pain inflicted by his previous members. He then looks at Shannon and remarks that she has been through a lot as well, and yet she can still care for other people. In many ways, the two of them are alike. They know what hardship and sacrifice are, and this only shows that they would make great partners for this quest. Rock is shocked to hear all of these. He thought no one really understood him, but it turns out that someone out there was really watching him. He then shifts his attention to Shannon and asks her what she wants. Unsure of herself, she declines to answer initially since she is just a slave. However, if given a choice, she would really like to go with Rock. With this, Rock decides to take her as well. He then asks how much he should pay for her, but Rika explains that it must be a coincidence since the mission's reward would be enough as payment. Rock scratches his face because it was too much of a coincidence. With the payment settled, Rock then starts to undo the curse placed on her by the Dark Spirit. As he recites the dispelling mantra, the Dark Spirit is slowly lifted away from Shannon's shadows. However, it tries to transfer itself to Rock and swallow him whole. Struggling, he pushes himself some more until a blinding light from his palms eventually defeats the Dark Spirit, which slowly disintegrates into the thin air. He falls to the ground in exhaustion while Lucky praises him for dispelling the curse. Rock also thanks him for guiding him and lifting up the curse. Titus also remarks that for a first time, He was incredible in breaking the archdemon's curse. Curious about it, the young man asks about the nature of the curse. Although not really an expert about it, Titus explains that there have been similar cases before. From what he knows, it is caused by summoning the demons who once ruled the world. Rock would have hoped that he was briefed about it being a demon's curse earlier, but nonetheless, he is just happy that they are past the danger. Shannon thanks him for lifting up her curse. Rock gives her a reassuring smile, and Lucky is also glad that everything has worked out. With this, Titus encourages them to start the quest and gather up the materials before Jack's team could outshine them. Rock starts the preparation and transports themselves to the sanctuary garden. Shannon is amazed that there is a whole different world inside his bracelet. Looking at her smiling face closely, Rock cannot help but be mesmerized. Sensing this, Lucky teases the boy a bit, which flusters him. She then points at the sky bird and asks if the creature is his friend as well. The sky birds are so rare to see since they soar way up in the sky, so it is hard to spot them. She is impressed that he can tame rare and powerful beasts like the Fenrir. While the two are still talking, Lucky suddenly feels hunger and asks Rock that they eat. Since his familiar mentions it, Rock has also realized that he is starving. Lucky perks up and tells him that he has asked the orange ants to bring him some monsters to eat. Rock realizes that the ants are nowhere to go. Lucky tells him that the ants built a dungeon under the cabin, which shocks Rock. The three of them check the dungeon Lucky is talking about and find a big hole in the middle of the field. Shannon is in disbelief to see orange ants in human form. She is also shocked that they are calling Rock Papa. Lucky teases him for it, and the young man frantically explains to Shannon that he just happened to be there when the baby was born. Thinking that it must be one of his dark secrets, she promises that she will keep the secret. Lucky smirks at him, which adds to his embarrassment. The master and the familiar keep giving each other side glances and tease each other non-stop, making Shannon curious what they are talking about. It looks like they are having so much fun without her, so she feels it is unfair. It feels frustrating, especially she cannot understand Lucky, who can only be understood by Rock. Yet, she can understand the ants, which is a surprise. The ant reveals that she has the ability to speak in the human language. Unlike the others, she can use the language as a leader of her army. Rock is amazed by this. Now it makes sense why she has negotiating skills and can command structures to the rest of her group. To help Shannon understand Lucky, the ant uses her skill on her so that she would also have the understanding of other languages. After this, Lucky tries to talk to her and impressively manages to understand the divine beast. Rock is impressed as well, since it turns out there are many things he does not know yet. The elf thanks her for giving her a special skill, and the two immediately bond. Rock then suddenly remembers that he has not given the ants names yet, and decides to name her Patra. The ant jumps up and down in glee since she has finally a name. She requests that he gives the others names as well, which he agrees. However, they all look the same to him, so he quite struggles to come up with names. With this, he decides to name them Orange A to Orange E. They all look offended at first, but then celebrate that they have all names that they can use. Looking at them so giddy, he decides to give them different names later once their unique personalities shine. He then asks Patra about the underground dungeon they built. Later, Patra is giving him a tour of the ants' dungeon. She shows him the cold storage where they keep the meat and the drying room where they let the hides dry. She also shows him where they keep all the magic stones they found while digging. He is amazed by how intricate the dungeon is given it was built in such a short time. He praises Patra and her ants for a job well done. He was surprised at first when he heard about the dungeon, but it turned out to be just a nest for Patra and the others. Since they have got meat, they can eat to their heart's content. However, Rock finds himself later in the market. He realizes he has totally forgot about the cooking utensils, and since they are short on time, he can just cook fried chicken. It is quite easy dish, since all you have to do is dip the chicken in the batter and fry it. It goes well with cabbage. Thus, he buys the vegetable. However, the vendor tells him that they have not had any lately. He is bummed a bit because he was looking forward to complete the dish for everyone to taste. Just then, someone asks him if he can afford to play around. When he whips back his head, he sees Jack and his crew. The man smirks at him. Jack reiterates that if he begs, he will let him in the party again. Shannon immediately goes into defensive mode and protects Rock. Confused, Jack asks who she is. Rock sighs and tells Shannon to just ignore the man. He then mentions to Jack that they are not affiliated anymore, so he should stop bothering him. Frustrated, he tries to attack Shannon instead. Fortunately, Rock is fast enough to block his fist. Angered, Rock tells him to behave and watch what he is doing. Gritting his teeth, Jack remarks that the guild probably paired him with the elf to work against him, but looking at her, he realizes that he has nothing to be scared of. She really looks like a trash E-ranker. He further mocks Rock, saying that he can never use his full potential. This angers Shannon, insisting that Rock is not weak and someone they can just toss around. Jack smirks at her, remarking that she should know her place. Kara steps in and asks if the elf is his new partner. He confirms and introduces Shannon to everyone as an E-rank elven adventurer. Kara scrutinizes her look and tells her that her outfit is tacky. She adds that if she is going to be Rock's partner, she should put a lot more effort into her appearance. Rock remarks that she should mind her own business, and that appearance is not a big deal for being an adventurer. Annoyed, Kara states that she never thought that he would settle for a mere low-ranked adventurer as his partner. Emmy then interrupts and apologizes to Shannon for her crew's rude manners toward her. She then bows her head to Rock, showing once again her remorse for what happened. She considers quitting, but she wants one last match against him to know where she stands. In this way, she could decide what she is going to do from here on out. Jack then calls out his team, saying that they should go, and warns Rock that he should do his best, or he will defeat him. After watching them go, Shannon tells Rock that they should go as well. He assures her that they will definitely win, since he now has a stronger reason to fight. So, for now, they need to head back and have dinner first. Lucky accidentally makes a mess while making cornmeal. Rock forbids him from playing with food, but Lucky clarifies that he was not playing but merely helping him prepare their meal. He tries once again but miserably fails. The others cannot help but laugh at his silliness. After a while, their food is done cooking. Rock prepares his special extra crispy fried chicken. Everyone starts to dig in, and one bite from the chicken feels like they are in heaven. The dish is so delicious and the chicken is crispy outside and soft inside. He tells Shannon to be careful while eating since it is still hot. She agrees with him but continues to devour her food since it is really tasty. The others continue to eat as well until they are full. After their dinner, Rock discusses the plans for their quest. He informs everyone that their destination is the Verdant Dungeon. The dungeon is 2 to 3 days away by carriage, and the quest would normally take about a week. The terrain is full of marshes and forests that are hard to navigate. But, if they go in a straight line, they can make the travel less than half a day. Based on Jack's luggage and the direction their carriage went, he could predict that they are going to take the standard route. They will likely get caught in trouble in the forest unless they have some kind of trick up their sleeve. He doubts that they will take the same shortcut, so they will likely win. Shannon finally understands now why he was so confident to win. Now that they were able to recuperate, they should start their exploration. Later, they ride Lucky going deep into the forest. Shannon apologizes to him for giving her a ride too. The beast assures her that he is fine with it. Rock smiles since no monsters are attacking them because of their fear of the Fenrir. Just then, they hear someone shouting for help on the other part of the forest. They guess that someone might be getting attacked by monsters. With this, Rock asks Lucky to head back a bit, to check on who must be crying in the middle of the forest. However, to their dismay, they find a gargoyle weeping loudly alone. Sensing them as a threat, he fires at them with his wind magic. They are able to deflect the attack, but this insults Lucky, who then starts to gather his power in his mouth. Rock finds this impressive but stops him, immediately realizing that he is gathering an insane amount of power. In addition to this, the royal capital is in the direction of his attack, and this could hurt the city. Sweating bullets, Lucky confesses that he cannot stop the strike anymore. He unleashes the power and Rock immediately places himself between the ball of energy and the city's direction. He then casts a spell to at least minimize the effect of the power. The attack is too strong that he struggles to prevent it from going further. Even though injured, he pushes through it and manages to split the attack in two, making it less destructive. Breathing heavily, Rock manages to save everyone, while Lucky tries to dissociate himself from the situation. Shannon runs up to him and asks if he is okay. He assures her that he is fine, and is also glad to see that both of his companions are okay. Suddenly, she sees his hands bleeding. He downplays his injury, saying that a simple healing potion can fix it right away. He then retrieves a healing potion from his garden and drinks it up, healing his wounds in an instant. Shannon lights up, impressed by how incredible the potion is. Crying, Lucky apologizes to his master for messing up again. Instead of berating the beast, he thanks him for protecting them, pointing out that the beast only did it to save them from a monster's threat. However, he tells him that since he has naturally strong mana, he has to learn to control it so it will not cause another trouble. The divine beast sniffs, touched by how kind-hearted his master is. Unable to contain the feelings, he howls in happiness. Now, Rock shifts his attention to the gargoyle, who then panics. The monster moves back and calls him a monster. Rock is in disbelief since it is clear that this isn't the case. He then asks why the creature was crying out there. The gargoyle shares that he was just so sad after being fired from the demon's army. He was apparently made from leftover materials. Because of this, his mana is too low, so he was made to be the cleaner of the Dark Castle for 100 years. However, the army brass changed and they decided that they no longer need a monster who could only clean. He was wandering throughout the forest without a clue on what he should do next with his life. He eventually reached a village, but the villagers drove him out. He had done nothing but clean the castle, so that was the first time he ever met humans. He felt so miserable after the encounter, and it made him realize how incomplete he was as a monster. Tears fall down his face again, asking why he was even born. Rock comments that gargoyles are the elite of the demon army, and it would take a massive amount of mana just to create one. It is hard for him to believe that they would make one carelessly with leftovers. He then asks what the monster would like to do with his life now. Still confused, the gargoyle is still undecided. He then starts to cry again, overwhelmed with confusing emotions. Pitying him, Rock asks if he wants to join their exploration. The gargoyle is stunned by the offer. He is nothing but a weak monster who can only clean, and yet he wants him in his team. Rock replies that he surely has a unique ability after cleaning for 100 years. Besides, it is an impressive feat. The creature finally cheers up and thanks him for giving him a new purpose in life. With this, the garden's voice asks him again if he wants to add the sealed gargoyle to his party. Hearing this, Rock realizes that his power must be sealed. When asked about it, the creature reveals that he was made by the Demon King 2 generations ago. Although there is a mystery to him, Rock has officially accepted the gargoyle into his party and gives him the nickname of Gargo. He is then transferred to the Sanctuary Garden. Rock then receives a message that the garden can now be expanded due to the increase of divine beasts. He carefully picks elements to add to his garden and chooses to expand the cabin this time. After the expansion has been completed, they continue their journey. Rock notices that there is a village nearby and sees that there are growing cabbages in the area. He picks one up, amazed that cabbages can grow in a wild place like that. Seeing Lucky taking a rest, he decides that they call it a night and recuperate to continue their journey later on. The next morning, the group continues to trudge through the forest. According to the gargoyle, the village is up close, and so they follow the path. Eventually, they reach a village. Rock tries to wake up the village guard to no avail. Shannon tries as well, but the old man just mumbles in his sleep. When he opens his eyes, he can't believe how beautiful Shannon is and believes that his time has come and he is seeing an angel. Afraid to die with regret, he puckers his lips and tries to kiss her, but Lucky smacks him instead, pinning him to the ground. Seeing Rock, he accuses him of being a bandit. He corrects the old man, saying that they are adventurers and stumbled upon their village on their way to the dungeon. Hearing that they are adventurers, he feels relief since the village is having a problem. Rock looks around and observes. A lot of people look emaciated and are dealing with a famine. The village chief then welcomes them and Rock introduces his team to him. The chief looks at the village guard and teases him about being awake in his job this time. He managed to get adventurers right when they needed them the most. The guard scoffs and tells him that he even managed to chase off a gargoyle that posed as a threat to their village. The chief laughs at him, not believing that he managed to drive a powerful monster by himself. The two engage in a banter, and so Rock has to interrupt and ask what the village's problem is. The chief immediately apologizes and clears his throat before explaining. It all started about 6 months ago. The goblins have started appearing in their green garden marsh. The goblins then raided their village and stole what little food they had left. The men of the village tried to drive them off, but they were completely beaten. With no other choice, the chief asks for their help to save their village from being further ruined. Rock contemplates the problem. The goblins are smarter than other monsters, and this fact would be challenging for them. The chief further adds that they initially petitioned the kingdom and the guild to help them with their problem, but since they couldn't pay a proper fee, no adventurers accepted the job. Rock weighs the situation. He wants to help, but he cannot continue making a living with just charity alone. Besides, the same thing would happen again if they were not equipped to be self-sufficient. Eventually, he decides to take the mission and asks them for a map of the area. Learning where the goblins are dwelling, he gauges that he can handle the problem. In exchange for this, he asks for cabbages as payment from the field they saw earlier. The villagers agree and are glad that their problem is solved now. However, he points out that for them not to repeat the same cycle, he will help in developing the village. As a reward, he will take 20% of the village's future revenue. The chief is hesitant since that is not the amount that he can decide on his own. Rock thinks for a moment and proposes that they help with the quest they are currently dealing with, and he could cut the amount to 10%. The chief is a bit apprehensive but discusses it with the rest of the villagers, especially since they would be the ones to do the labor. Rock promises that he will help them secure food in the future to help them thrive. Sensing their hesitation, he deems that the main problem stems from the isolation of the village from the other bigger towns. Additionally, their fields are not maintained properly, so they are having a problem with trading their products and connecting with other towns for help. He could help them now for free, but that wouldn't be wise in the long run to help the village become self-sufficient. The chief understands his sentiment and asks for more time to speak with the villagers for their consent. Rock wonders how the arrangement will play out. Thinking about it, the profits for the village will be huge, so it will be hard to imagine that the chief will turn the offer down. For the meantime, he will help with the preparation of the mission and requests Shannon to inform him when the chief calls. Later, Rock and the chief meet again to deliberate about the deal. The chief admits that the villagers were in a split decision at first, but thinking carefully about it, it could be promising for the village. If Rock can promise to help them with sustainable farming and get rid of the goblins, the deal is a gem. However, one of the villagers named Warren expressed opposition. The deal sounds too good to be true, and it is most likely that they are being scammed. He vows that once he is healed, he will be the one to take down all those goblins that are a threat to their village. Looking at the injured villagers, Rock decides to help them by making them drink his special healing potion. He offers it to the man, but Warren refuses to drink the potion since it could be poisonous. To assure him, he lets Shannon drink the potion first. The elf eagerly tries the drink since it is one of Rock's special brews. Upon drinking the potion, she immediately feels invigorated and refreshed. Healing potions are usually bitter, but Rock's brew tastes good. Hearing this, Lucky demands a taste too. He complies and pours the potion into his familiar's mouth. Lucky starts to become upbeat and comments how the drink tastes so amazing and makes him feel revitalized. With this, Rock convinces Warren again to take a sip. The man takes the bottle from him and declares that he will prove it to be fake himself. He drinks the potion and immediately feels refreshed and healed. He has never tasted a drink so delicious like apples before, and it is as if it is the first time he met his first love. He is in utter disbelief when he can move his leg in an instant and the pain is now gone. It must be a miracle. Seeing him recovered, Rock requests his help for a few supplies for his quest. In exchange, he will give more potions to the wounded. Realizing that the adventurer is not a fraud, Warren eagerly declares his support for him in any way he can help. He apologizes that he doubted the young man and humbly asks him to lend his strength to his village. Everyone smiles with relief now that trust is forged between the villagers and Rock. With no one opposing his proposition, the deal is now sealed, and this calls for a feast. Later, the villagers are sharing a feast together. They are shocked that cabbages could taste that good since they had always thought that the vegetable was only used to feed the horses. Rock also shares that the cabbage goes well with different dishes and they can experiment with more recipes using it. Aside from this, he quietly mixes some healing potion in the food, so some sick folks feel better right away. He then calls Shannon and requests that she take Orange A and B with her to guard the villagers and get a certain item. She feels inadequate since it is a big task to handle. However, he assures her that with her skill, she will have no trouble with the monsters around. Additionally, the orange ants will be helpful to her since they are reliable even though they are small. She is convinced through his encouraging words and promises to give her all. Everyone else will be working on the road to the royal capital, Kront. He stresses that they need to build the road, so trading will be easy, and the issue of food and other necessities will be solved. But before sending them off, he casts a support spell to make their movement easier and to give them a boost in stamina. In this way, they can finish more tasks in time, but he reminds them that the boost will just be temporary and it will wear off soon, so they better not overdo it. Shannon finds this again impressive since he easily cast a support magic for that many people. He assures her that with her mana, she can learn different spells in no time and promises to teach her sometime. After everything is set, the villagers start to build the road. Everyone does their tasks so eagerly and responsibly. Even Rock and Lucky help and give their all. As the sun begins to set, Rock decides to call it a day. After assessing the progress, it looks like the pavement will be finished by tomorrow. All thanks to Lucky's magic, they didn't have a hard time finishing the road, and they can start some trading soon. The team celebrates the progress and Rock smiles at the sight of them. He thinks that his familiars are way too good for him. As the night falls, Rock takes a rest in the garden and is busy reading a map. Shannon brings him tea after seeing him still awake. He comments that he is preparing for the quest tomorrow and she must take a rest first. He remarks that he worked harder than anyone, so he must take a shut-off. She refuses to sleep before her master and so will take a rest later. He tells her to drop the master and honorifics while talking to him since it is kind of embarrassing. He doesn't see her as a slave but a partner. She smiles at this remark, telling him that he is really a kind person, and she is so grateful and lucky that she has met him. He also gives her a reassuring smile and is grateful as well to have met her. After weighing things, he decides that they will trade the cabbages tomorrow at the capital. He will have the villagers gather the cabbages, and it will surely sell in the capital since they are short in supply. He further contemplates that at the same time, he has to take on the guild request and win the quest. He also believes that Titus is plotting something, but he isn't quite sure yet what that is. While deep in thought, he notices that Shannon fell asleep in her seat. He smiles at the sight and casts a spell on her to help her sleep peacefully. It is nighttime in the monster world. Every ant, gargoyle, bird, or elf is sleeping peacefully. Rock gets out of his cabin quietly to not wake anybody up. To his surprise, Lucky is just outside, ready for him. They both agree that the night is the best time to nab rainbow dragonflies. Lucky justifies that he needs to tag along since no monster will challenge them with him around. Lucky also asks Rock about how he plans to deal with the goblin. To his surprise, Rock tells him that it will be okay, because he knows some adventurer will come along to wipe them up. The Fenrir has no idea what he means, but he forgets about it. They both have fun catching rainbow dragonflies in the forest with their fly-catching nets. The next morning, Rock wakes up on his bed. He hears someone humming in the kitchen and thinks it is Shannon making breakfast. He exits his bedroom to help Shannon out with the cooking. He is then surprised to see that it is not Shannon but Gargo who is cooking in the kitchen, and he is wearing a pink apron that makes him look like a woman at that. The surprise of the gargoyle cooking for him in an apron is too much for Rock, and he screams. Gargo asks if he is okay. Rock tries to assure him that everything is okay. He offers to help him with the cooking, but the Gargo insists that he does all the cooking in the Demon Lord's castle. Shannon appears to say good morning. She apologizes to Rock for falling asleep on him last night. Rock sees that she is holding a wooden sword and asks if she has been training. She shows disappointment as she asks if Rock went alone hunting for rainbow dragonflies last night. Rock assures her that he was safe and that he had Lucky with him. Shannon complains that she was not there to be useful to him. Rock thanks him and assures her that they will go together next time. The elf girl cries as she wants him to keep his promise. Later, Rock asks Warren to drop off the rainbow dragonfly wings at the guild for him as he journeys to the capital in his horse carriage. As Rock looks at Warren leaving the village with his horse carriage, he goes on to think about the other things he needs to do for the village. Rock teaches the villagers to till the fields and plant cabbage, ensuring that their food and trade will be sorted. Later at night, the entire village celebrates as the road they have been building is already complete. Rock praises Patra and the other orange ants on their stonework, which he thinks rivals that of master craftsmen. An old lady also approaches Patra and the ants and admits to them that she is no longer afraid of monsters because of their kindness. Meanwhile, the village chief approaches Rock to thank him for everything he did for them. The old man asks if he really only wants 10% of the profit, considering he has helped them too much. Rock replies that he has no problem with it. The chief promises to always pay his share no matter what. Later that night, Rock and the orange ants go to the Oringo territory, where they steal some of the eggs from the Oringo and end up being chased by the alligator-looking monsters. Meanwhile, Lucky, Shannon, Petra, and Gargo went to the territory of the green frogs and recovered a green emerald from the creatures. The group then goes home to the village, where they eat a feast with the villagers. Meanwhile, Jack's party is on their way to the dungeon by horse carriage. On another morning in the monster garden, Rock and all his beast friends are gathered in the field. A small bird lands on Rock's shoulder. He is surprised that a tiny bird is living in the garden. Patra tells Rock that the bird on his shoulder is the sky bird, surprising the lad. Patra informs Rock that when they were sorting monster corpses, she found a chestnut-looking item. Skybird ate it and shrank to a small bird as a result. Rock thinks they should find a way to change the skybird back, saying this makes the skybird so happy. Rock then changes his mind and thinks maybe it would be fine the way the bird is, since he will probably change back eventually. Rock saying this leaves the bird depressed. Rock then gets distracted by a stench. He looks towards the source and sees Lucky. He asks the wolf when the last time he took a bath. Lucky looks away as he says that he took a bath yesterday. Rock replies that they were together all day yesterday, so this means he did not have time to take a bath. He would change his answer to the day before yesterday. Lucky can't take lying anymore, so he screams out that he does not need to take a bath. Rock announces to everyone that the operation called Catch and Bathe Lucky begins now. Everyone in the group agrees and is excited as if it were a game. Lucky smiles, confident that no one has what it takes to catch him. Rock spreads his support magic on all of his friends aside from Lucky and tells them that he has just boosted their physical abilities. Lucky warns them that no mere buff spell can bridge the gap between them and him. Patra volunteers to try to catch Lucky first. She charges at the wolf. Lucky tells her that she is being naive if she thinks she can catch him all by herself. Patra spits out threads of web from her mouth, and they head for Lucky. The wolf dodges the attack. Lucky brags that this simple attack can't beat him. Patra then screams for the other ants to appear. Lucky is then surprised to see that the other orange ants already have him surrounded. They spit out their web threads, which tie up all of the wolf's limbs until he can't move. The ants jump and cheer at their victory. Rock pats Patra's head and praises her for making Lucky think that he was facing her alone. Rock tells Lucky to admit defeat already and get a bath. The wolf tears off the webs on his feet, grabs the pieces of it, and ties up the orange ants with them, all in quick succession. Lucky praises the ants for freezing his movements, but it was not enough to hold him down. The ants cry that they lost the match. Gargo then steps up to face Lucky next. The wolf asks the gargoyle if he really thinks he can beat him. Gargo brags that he should not be underestimated, because he is a gargoyle with a century of battle knowledge, as well as rock support magic by his side. Gargo looks serious as he braces himself to attack Lucky. Lucky simply hits the gargoyle with his tail to defeat him. Lucky cockily asks who is next to face him. Shannon steps up with her wooden sword. Lucky tells her that she needs to come to him for real. Shannon pulls out a real sword and charges at the wolf. She thrusts, but the wolf dodges. Lucky mocks her for her weak attempt. It leads the elf woman to throw a barrage of sword strikes. Despite all the attempts, Lucky easily dodges them all. After a while, Shannon's strikes become more and more precise, making the wolf nervous. Lucky sees her coming again, and it leads him to back away. It turns out, Shannon led him to a rock wall, and now the wolf is cornered. Shannon points her sword at him and asks that he take a bath already. In the blink of an eye, Lucky points the end of his tail near her neck, like it is a blade. Shannon drops her sword and says she surrenders. Regardless, Lucky praises her for improving her swordplay. The elf thanks him for noticing. Lucky then faces Rock and sees that he is the only one left. The giant wolf is hyped to face him and warns Rock that he needs to come at him with everything he's got. Rock pulls out his twin daggers. Both face each other with a smile. Suddenly, Lucky smells a sweet scent that makes him relax. On top of the giant wolf's head is the skybird, and it has a flower in its mouth. A second later, Lucky feels drowsy, and he falls asleep. It is now that Rock realizes that what is in the bird's mouth is a sleep flower. The skybird looks smug as it feels like it is the winner. Rock gathers the others, as they see it as their opportunity to give Lucky a bath. Meanwhile, Jack's party is already near Verdant Dungeon. In the carriage, even now, Jack's anger has not subsided, and it is making him shiver. He still complains about how Rock has betrayed them. Emmy corrects him, telling him that it was they who betrayed Rock first. Jack can't take it, so he tells her to shut up. He thinks about how Rock was just their mule who carried their things, while he was always in the front lines taking down monsters to claw his way up to S rank. He then recalls how Kid told them that they are just a C-ranked party without Rock. The very thought of it makes Jack's teeth grind, and his fists tighten. He swears that he will prove that they are an S-rank party without Rock. Kara and Emmy remind him that they can't handle the Orango and Rainbow Dragonflies because they are too scared of them. Jack accepts this, since their main prize is the wyvern anyway. Kara can no longer take Jack's attitude and asks why he always acts so high and mighty. She continues to say that he takes jobs without even checking the details and drags them into his mistakes. She reminds him that she and Emmy are only helping him because they have to, and that they will disband once the mission is done. Jack does not care and says that they can do whatever they want, as long as he is the one leading their current operation. Their carriage driver tells them that they have arrived at the dungeon. Jack pays the man some silver coins for the journey. The driver complains that it is not enough, making Jack feel humiliated. Jack then pulls out more money, so the driver leaves. Jack's mood became even more foul now that he feels like he experienced another bad thing. He forgets about it, and the trio heads inside the dungeon entrance. Meanwhile, Lucky is so clean and fluffy now that Rock and everyone in their family are hugging him all over. Jack and the others explore the dungeon. Jack tells his party that their only target is the wyvern in the deepest depths. They ignore the Orango they pass by on their walk. Jack then notices that there are no rainbow dragonflies or green frogs around. They see that the alligator-like Orangos are still around, but they don't see any of their eggs in sight. Jack complains that they can't retrieve anything like this. It dawns on him that the guild must have set them up. He grinds his teeth, thinking that this is all the guild's doing, and promises himself that he will get back at them. A goblin suddenly jumps toward Jack from behind to ambush him. Jack slices the creature in two before it gets near him. In the distance, they see more goblins, and leading them is a goblin twice the size of the other goblins. Jack looks closely and sees that this giant goblin has a giant sword and is wearing metallic armor. He recognizes it as a goblin knight. Jack and his team brace themselves for battle. Jack goes for the goblin knight, but it dodges his sword strike. The knight tries to counter, but Jack blocks it. As Jack struggles to push away the knight, he remembers Kid telling them that they are only a C-rank party without Rock. It makes his teeth grind as he rejects the notion that it is true. Despite telling himself that there is no way he can lose against a simple goblin knight, he is barely hanging on from being pushed back by the creature. His face is filled with sweat, and his teeth are tightly grinding as he gives it his all to hold on. Suddenly, fire magic slays the goblin knight from behind. Emmy asks if Jack is okay. The stubborn man does not thank her and tells her that he could have handled it. Kara comments that it was obvious that he was struggling. They then huddle in battle positions as they see that they are still surrounded by goblins from all directions. Eventually, they defeat all the goblins. Kara heals all their wounds with her saint magic. Jack's crew then heads to the depths of the dungeon, where they see a hill guarded by many wyverns. Jack and the others are behind the bush watching their targets. Jack tells the others that he will charge in to draw their attention so that Emmy can shoot down their wings with her magic. They agree on the plan, so Jack runs towards the wyverns. The wyverns fly up to avoid him. Emmy fires a barrage of fireballs, hitting two wyverns and sending them falling to the ground. Jack then charges at the two wyverns and finishes them off with his sword. Just as Jack is about to celebrate, he sees that a wyvern is about to attack Emmy and Kara. The wyvern hits the women with its tail, smacking them back. Jack runs towards them to see if they are okay. Kara gets angry at Jack since Rock would have seen the wyvern nearing them if he were here. The mention of Rock makes Jack defensive, and he tells them that he just did not know there was another wyvern near. He tells Kara that she should at least know how to defend herself, insulting the saint. Kara has it with him and shouts that she is now done with him. She grabs Emmy and they walk away from Jack. Jack tells them that they can't just leave. Kara replies that she can't follow him anymore. Saying this makes Jack freeze up in shock. He looks as the women walk away from him. He shivers in anger at how even they are abandoning him. He remembers his father telling him that Rock is better than him in every way and how he was a disappointment by comparison. Jack's anger has reached a boiling point. Wyverns have surrounded him from behind. Jack smiles mischievously as he swears that he will make Rock fail the quest. He jams his sword into the ground and screams out that he will never let Rock be the winner. He then glows, which drowns the surroundings in golden light. Emmy and Kara hides behind a boulder to avoid the explosion that is about to happen. A huge flux of energy comes out of Jack, engulfing the dungeon with energy that shoots upwards into the sky. The light is so huge that it can be seen even from Chowchi village. Rock realizes right away that this is Jack's doing. He asks Shannon to come with him to the dungeon. He also asks his beast's family to continue working on the village while they are gone. He calls on Lucky and says he will come with them. They get near the dungeon, where they see that it is covered with smoke. From the smoke, they see figures coming out of the cave entrance. It is revealed to be Jack and his team. Jack looks tired as he is being helped by Emmy just to stand. Jack tells Rock that he can no longer complete the quest since the wyverns and materials have already been blown to bits. Shannon panics and tells Rock that they need to go back to the capital and buy the materials to turn those in instead. Jack overhears her. Rock replies that they need to check if there are still wyvern remains. Jack mockingly persuades them to waste their time searching for one while they head back first. Inside the dungeon, Rock and his team see all the corpses of the goblins. They see that the village is safe now. Lucky realizes that this was all part of Rock's plan. They head to the wyvern territory and see that Jack's attack left no corpses. Shannon sees some scales and claws on the ground, but they are too damaged to take. Just as Rock is about to tell them there is nothing they can do now, Lucky has found something and is wagging his tail with excitement. He leads them to a nest of wyvern eggs that remains undamaged because it was behind a rock. They head back to the village, where the villagers are glad that they got what they were looking for. Rock and his friends stay in the village, helping them grow cabbage. They stay in the village until the deadline of their quest. By the time of departure, the village already had stone walls like a castle to protect it from anything. All the villagers bow their heads to Rock and his friends for all the things they did. The village chief promises that they will follow everything they were taught and strive to develop the village further. The old lady villager pat Patra's head for everything they did. The villagers also announce that they will be making cabbage their local specialty and that they will rename their village Chowchi Cabbage Village to mark the occasion. They all say goodbye to Rock and friends with happy smiles. Rock thinks about how all that is left to do is settle things with Jack. Rock and Shannon are already in the busy streets of the royal capital. There, they meet up with Warren at his cabbage stall. Warren informs them that Rock's prediction that their cabbage would be a hit was right, and that their cabbage soup and stuffed cabbage are their best sellers. Warren informs Rock that Jack and his group brought the items Rock predicted they would from them and did not even question why the price was so high. He thanks Rock for giving him a small fortune. Rock is glad for him and asks that he use the rest of the profit to buy a magic ox and help the village grow. Warren thanks him again for everything. They part ways, and Rock and Shannon head to the guild, ready for what is in store. At the guild, Jack and his team are already in front of Rika. Jack mocks Rock for being late. Rock sees that they already gave their materials to Rika and that they are now on her desk. Jack then smiles as he sees that Rock has nothing on him to give, and he mocks the man for coming to the guild despite being empty-handed. Rock remains calm and says that they need to settle things. Jack thinks he is just talking big and is actually shaking inside. Rika starts verifying the items. Jack is so confident that they have won that he tells Rock with a wicked smile that he needs to get on his knees and apologize. Rock replies that he has nothing to apologize for. Rika announces that Jack's party, Team Graella, has delivered 20 rainbow dragonfly wings, 3 orango eggs, and 15 fresh emeralds. She announces that Rock has won the match. The surprised Jack complains and questions why he won. Rika informs him that Rock submitted his materials before them, and that he delivered 30 wyvern scales, 10 claws, 60 feathers, 9 eggs, and 45 emeralds. Jack is shocked that Rock has reached the dungeon before them. He holds Rock by the collar and accuses him of cheating. Rock sighs and calmly tells him that he did not cheat. Rock tells him that he should not accuse people of cheating when he was the one who bought the materials from stalls instead of gathering them. Jack says that he haunted the materials himself and did not buy a thing. Rock grabs one of the materials from the desk and asks him to explain why their materials bear the trademark symbol of Chaochi Village. Jack is silenced as he has no defense. Rock explains that he realized when he met them at the dungeon entrance that they had not yet retrieved any of the items, reveals that he had Shannon talk in front of them about buying the materials in the capital. He figured that he would have bought every material they did not get in the capital. Rock revealed that they already had a surplus of the materials by then, and that he left some of them with a street vendor to have them sold to them at a high price. Jack shivers in rage at the thought of him being tricked. Jack demands to know how he beat them to the dungeon. Rock sighs at the question. He judges them for not checking the map carefully. He reveals that a direct route inside the village is much faster than the road they took. Kara speaks up and says that she noticed that from the beginning. Jack screams at her for not saying anything. He asks why she did not bring her best when this was the quest that was supposed to prove they were still S rank. Jack demands to know why she did not give it her all to beat Rock. Kara sighs as she palms her head. She tells him that he is the only one in the group who is obsessed with winning. Jack freezes up in shock. To add to the injury, Rock thanks Jack for taking down the goblins and informs him that the folks at Chaochi Village were having trouble with them. Rock knows that the guild has been drowning in requests to take down the goblins lately, but the village could not afford the fee. Rock looks at Rika, knowing that she planned the request contest. Knowing that it would lead them to the village, Rika smiles but does not say anything. Rock reveals that they already grabbed some wyvern claws and scales on the first day they arrived. As Rock says, he planned for Jack and the others to defeat the goblins for them. Jack's rage boils. He accuses Rock of using him and charges at him to punch him. The guild master, Titus, arrives and shouts for Jack to stop. Jack stops moving before his punch reaches Rock. Titus reveals that Kid confessed that Jack was part of the plan to kill and leave behind Rock. He tells Jack that it is over. It makes Jack close his eyes. His feet give out, and he gets to his knees in utter defeat. Rock recounts how Jack, Emmy, and Kara were questioned by the authorities. Since Kara and Emmy were not part of the plan to kill Rock, they did not receive any serious punishment and were only demoted to C rank. With Team Grayla dissolved, Kara suggested that she and Emmy form a party with Rock. Rock turned down the offer, leaving Kara sad and disappointed. Rock has heard that she and Emma became an adventurer party duo after that. Meanwhile, Kid was locked away in the dungeon, and investigations revealed more of his past crimes. Jack, on the other hand, was sent to 6 months of mining duty and will start fresh from E rank if he ever decides to become an adventurer again. Meanwhile, Rock is just outside the capital, staring at the view in peace. Lucky asks what is on his mind. Rock answers that he was just thinking about his childhood friends. He reminisced about how they used to play together as kids. He compares it to how he is now with a new set of friends and is having a good time with them. Rock stands up and says he now has the strength to move forward with his comrades. Lucky is happy for him and agrees to move forward. Rock stretches out his hand for a fist bump and asks Lucky to move forward together. Lucky fist bumps him back and says he can leave it to him. They face each other with smiles. Shannon interrupts to tell them that dinner is ready. Rock and Lucky go with her to dinner. Later at night, in the dark streets of the capital, a skeletal figure approaches. Adventurers guard the royal capital walls against a group of ogres. One ogre punches the ground, and it sends 2 adventurers flying. They fear that it would only be a matter of time until the creatures break into the capital. Just as an ogre is about to punch some adventurers to their death, Rock and Lucky arrive to stop the punch. Rock apologizes to his fellow adventurers for being late and tells them that he will take care of everything. The ogre tries to punch Rock, but a mage suddenly shoots the creature from behind with a flame spell. It is revealed that it is Emmy, and Rock is glad to see her. Rock asks Patra to command the others in their group. The Ant Queen says she will do it and brags about her leadership skills. She pairs up Orange A to E with Gargo, and she lets herself be paired up with Shannon. Rock casts a support spell on his companions to boost their base stats. The group leads the charge against the ogres. They and the other adventurers all help out in taking down the ogres. Lucky can take an ogre out with one slash of his claws, leaving him bored. Rock looks around and sees that the gang is doing great, battling the monster thanks to Patra's leadership. Meanwhile, an ogre is approaching a scared Gargo. Gargo casts projectile magic against the ogre, but he gets scared as he sees that it has no effect on it. Rock and Lucky back him up. Eventually, all the ogres get slain. The adventurers cheer in celebration. They all thank Rock for saving their lives. Rock is confused about why ogres showed up to attack the capital and wonders what is going on. Kara heals all the adventurers, leading them to thank her. Kara tells them that they can repay her by giving her a new outfit, much to the trouble of the adventurers. Rock is embarrassed and sees that she has never changed. The royal knights arrive by horseback. The captain of the night, Marcus, thanks the adventurers for cooperating in the ogre investigation. He continues to say that the knights will take the ogre bodies to investigate the cause of their rampage, which frustrates the adventurers. Later at the guild, Guildmaster Titus is angry at Marcus for stealing the monsters that the adventurers risked their lives to kill. The two faction leaders argue in front of all the adventurers. Marcus replies that it is for an investigation of the ogre's abnormal movements and that they should not complain since the knights will pay for them. Titus yells at him for paying a bad price. Marcus defends that it is the reward for investigation assistance, so it is lower than usual. Titus grabs him by the collar and demands that the knights pay the adventurers what they deserve. Marcus calmly tells him to let go, unless he wants to go to war with the knights. Rika claps his hands and asks both of them to remain calm. She tells Titus that she will talk to the captain from now on. Titus apologizes to her for letting his temper get the better of him. Later, Rock goes to Titus's office to talk about what happened. Titus believes that if the knights keep pulling stunts like what they did, eventually, the adventurers will leave the kingdom. He goes on to talk about how adventurers are vital for a city's growth and defense, while also being vital for solving citizen problems. He continues to say that they are important in cutting down monsters, and that the kingdom prospers from the mysterious items adventurers bring back from the dungeon. He continues to complain about how Marcus does not appreciate them. He admits he is also fired up because he and Marcus are old rivals and have bad blood with each other. Titus refocuses on asking Rock to take on a new quest. He reveals that there has been a string of thefts around the capital of Magic Stone called Fire Gems, and that there have been no witnesses every time. He tells Rock that he is counting on him to solve the case. Titus tells Rock that he will get a reward even if he does not catch the culprits, as long as he finds out how they are doing it. Rock agrees to it. Their talk is interrupted by a rumbling sound. They pause their talk as they realize that it came from Shannon. The embarrassed Shannon apologizes. Later, Rock and his friends enjoy eating boar skewers in the street. Shannon apologizes to Rock for interrupting their important conversation. He tells her that it's okay because he was hungry anyway. Shannon appreciates it and thanks him. After eating, they head to the armory shop, where they find it filled with countless weapons. The store owner, Mateo, welcomes Rock. Mateo says he has heard that he has split up with his old party, and that it is a good thing for him since they never respected his support magic. It surprises Rock that he knows about his support blessing magic. Mateo asks what brings him to his armory. Rock answers that he wants to pick up weapons for his orange ant children. Mateo is surprised as he realizes that Patra is an orange ant and Gargo is a gargoyle from the demon army. Mateo praises Rock for still being someone who breaks all the rules. Everyone looks around the shop. The orange ant children, especially, are the ones intrigued by each weapon they see and play around with it. Eventually, every ant gets their preferred weapon and holds them in their little hands. Rock asks why Shannon and Gargo did not pick a weapon. Shannon replies that she already has the gear she needs, and Gargo replies that he is more of a mage than a weapon handler. Rock approaches Patra and sees that she chose a staff as her weapon. Patra tells him that she wants to help everyone with her magic like her papa. She is, however, saddened that she might not be talented enough to use magic. Rock pats her head and assures her that they can practice together with magic. Patra smiles and agrees that they will. Rock guesses that since Patra has leadership skills, it must mean she is also adept at support magic. A man in metallic armor steps into the shop. The man sees Patra and kicks her. Rock goes to her, asking if she is okay. The man complains that there are monsters in the place. Rock yells at him for what he has done. The man tells him with a big smile that a mere beast tamer like him has no right to shout at him. Rock ignores the man to ask Patra if she is hurt. Patra cheerfully says that she is totally fine. Rock is relieved and remembers that she is an A-rank monster. The antagonistic man is insulted that he is being ignored and asks if they even know who he is. They all answer that they have no idea who he is. The man is insulted and takes it on himself to educate them. He introduces himself as Mezel and brags that he is a noble of the highest class, Rock, and also the next captain of the Royal Knights. Rock replies that he does not care who he is and demands that he apologize to Patra. This angers Mezel, and he tries to convince the elf he sees to say something to his beast boy master. He warns Shannon that it is not wise to cross the knight's order, especially for an elf like her. Shannon asks him in a threatening manner what he just said to her. Misael is proud to see that he has struck a nerve in her. He goes on to tell her that she is really an old hag despite her looks. The more he speaks, the more Shannon grinds her teeth. Shannon replies to him that she is not an old hag, but that what made her mad is that he called Rock a beast boy. She pulls out her sword and points it at Mezel. Shannon tells him that she will teach him a lesson herself. The angered Mezel dares her to say it again. Mezel does not realize that his captain, Marcus, is already behind him. Later, Mezel gets a swollen cheek from getting hit by his captain. Marcus bows his head to Rock and his friends and apologizes for his comrade's behavior. He also apologizes to Patra, but the kid says he is fine since the kick was super weak. Rock says he is okay with it as long as Patra is fine with it. Marcus apologizes again and calls him by name. Rock is surprised the captain of the Royal Knights knows who he is. Marcus says that everyone in the capital knows who Rock the Beastmaster is and that they were asked to look into him. Marcus refocuses and talks to Mateo to ask about his missing fire gems. Mateo reports to him that his fire gems vanish 1 or 2 times a week and that another one disappeared today. Rock asks the captain if they have any suspects. Marcus is embarrassed to say that they don't know anything aside from the gems vanishing every once in a while and that a huge batch of them was stolen from the knight's warehouse. Marcus and Mezel head back to HQ. Shannon is surprised that Marcus turned out nicer than his first impression. Rock asks Mateo to show him where the fire gems disappeared and informs him that they are also investigating for the guild. Mateo shows Rock his workshop and tells him that it was placed on his workbench. Rock intuitively feels from the 2 entrances that someone might have sneaked in without anyone noticing. He wonders why someone would risk a break-in just for some fine gems when stealing high-end weapons would make more sense. He asks where the rest of the fire gems are kept. Mateo shows him the chest where the other gems are kept and theorizes that they were not stolen because it is always locked tight. Rock asks if he can summon his familiar, and Mateo allows him. Rock's miniature garden bracelet glows as he summons Lucky out. Lucky shoots out and is so big that he can't move in the store. The wolf complains that Rock summoned him into such a cramped space. Mateo is surprised to see that he really did make a Fenrir a familiar, as the rumors suggested. Rock asks Lucky if he can track the scent of the thief. Lucky tells him that since there are so many smells mixing in the store, he can't tell which scent belongs to whom. The wolf feels bad that he can't be more helpful. Rock says he did fine and thanks him. In an instant, Lucky disappears. Mateo is shocked that Rock's bracelet can hold Lucky. It makes Mateo emotional that the guy he knew became so strong. He goes on to reminisce about how useless Rock was before, which makes Shannon and Patra all ears. Mateo tries to whisper to them all about Rock, but the embarrassed Rock yells at him to cut it out. Mateo speaks to Patra and apologizes for what happened earlier. As a peace offering, he says he has something for her. He presents to her a custom-made mithril breastplate, and it shines in all its metallic glory. Rock recalls that mithril is a rare metal that can only be afforded by nobles and royalty. Rock says he can't accept something so valuable. Mateo assures him that it is fine and that he forged it a long time ago for a noble child. He is sad to say that the child fell gravely ill and never got to wear it. The noble returned it to him, but Mateo did not have the heart to destroy his own creation. The store owner asks that they put it to use for him. Rock can tell how important this is for him and says they will use it. Mateo says that he will make adjustments to it and that they can get it in a couple of days. The next day, the orange ant children are about to face off with giant boars with their new weapons ready. To Rock's surprise, the ants can take down boars with one hit with their weapons. He is shocked at how easy it is for them to master their weapons. As he observes them battling the boars, he is looking forward to how much stronger his children will become. After a while, all the boars got slain. The orange ants cheer for their victory. Orange Bee approaches Rock and taps on his shirt. Rock asks her what she wants, but the girl would not say a word. Patra gestures to his papa by patting her own head. Rock then gets a clue. He pats Orange Bee on the head and tells her that she was amazing. Being praised and patted makes the little girl smile with joy. The other girls see this and approach their dad all together for a head pat. Later, all the orange ants are in bliss from being head patted. Rock, Patra, and Shannon are happy to see them all so happy. Suddenly, Rock senses something. The voice inside his head warns him that a wyvern is about to be born and asks if he wishes to form a pact with it. In the monster world, the nest of wyvern eggs has hatched, and everyone is happy about the new members of their family. Rock thanks the skybird for taking care of the eggs. The status message informs Rock that the wyvern children have joined his party. The selection for facilities in the monster world opens up as the status informs Rock that he can now open 3 more facilities. He presses some of them, which springs forth a mine, fruit trees, and a hot spring on a hill. Rock finds the hot spring nice and anticipates them making a weapons armory out of the cave mine one day. Most of all, he is happy to see that they can now harvest bananas from the banana trees. He can't wait to see how much larger their little world grows. Later, Rock and Shannon ride Lucky back to the guild. Rock tells them that they will eat the boar from their hunt tonight and sell the extras at the market. Lucky pauses as he sees something in the distance. He shows the others the cemetery from a distance. The biggest tombstone from the area shines because of its gold material and the sunset behind it, and Lucky wants to get near it. He runs towards it, dragging Rock and Shannon along. At a closer glance, the tombstone is no longer shining in the sun, disappointing Lucky. Shannon holds on to Rock, making the lad see that she is scared. The elf woman tells him that she is not good with scary areas like this. Rock pats her head to assure her that Lucky and he are with her. She agrees to stay. As Rock looks at the golden tombstone, he does not see how the elf woman looks overjoyed from being patted. Rock reads from the inscription that it is the tomb of the great sage known as Domort. He informs Shannon that Domort is a legendary sage who greatly advanced their nation. She was known as a beautiful and kind-hearted sage with unparalleled wisdom and knowledge. She was best known for single-handedly negotiating a truce with the Demon King by going to the Demon King's castle and forging a pact with them, which created the peace they enjoy today. Shannon finds her incredible. Since it is getting late, Rock proposes they head back to the guild. Later, they enter the guild entrance. Rock and Shannon catch Mezel complaining to Rika since he was just informed that no adventurer would take it. Mezel then sees Rock and tells him to take the request instead. Rock grabs the paper the noble knight hands to him and sees that it is for cleaning all the insects in the entire sewer. Rock is shocked to see that the reward is 30 gold because a fire gem has been found there. Mezel tells him that he should be honored that he should take a request from the knight's order and brags that the reward money is nothing to them. Mezel asks Rika to approve the request already. He calls her an ugly woman for not approving it immediately, freezing Rika up. Rika becomes scary despite her smiling at Mezel. It makes Mezel scared of him. Rika says she understands and that she will post the request. Mezel leaves the guild, yelling at Rika that he is satisfied as long as she understands. Rock asks Rika if she is sure. Rika replies that she needs to agree since they can't afford to get into more fights with the knights. She boils in anger as she sees this as a challenge to her and plans to do things to lead to Mezel's misery. Later, Rock and Shannon head to the sewers. The area is so smelly that they cover their noses and mouths as they walk. Rock uses cleansing magic to clean the water near them. Under all the dirt, they find some of the fire gems. Rock picks one up, but is still disappointed they have no other leads than this. Shannon tells Rock that she is heading in the other direction so they can split up and search for more clues. Rock asks that she be careful since the floor is slippery. The elf woman assures him that she is very balanced by spinning around like a ballerina. She still slips and is about to fall. Rock catches her before she can. It catches her off guard. Rock's face is so close to Shannon's that it makes the elf woman blush. Rock says her name, making the elf anticipate that he is about to say something important. To her disappointment, the man only tells her that they need to head back to the surface. Back on the surface, Shannon is still disappointed that nothing happened between her and Rock. Rock suggests that they go to the hot spring together, making the elf shocked and red in the cheeks.